Welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast, coming to you every week from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful ice of the Galactic Empire. Join your hosts, John Mark Tolley, Garrett K. Jones, and Brian Karasik, as they discuss the various facets of the saga's lore, characters, review the films, and discuss every tidbit of news coming out of Lucasfilm. And remember, this isn't just my Star Wars, this isn't just your Star Wars, this is our Star Wars.
It is indeed our Star Wars. Welcome, everyone, once again to War of the Stars. And tonight, we're diving deep into one of the most iconic and fascinating and downright coolest parts of the entire saga, lightsaber combat. From the elegant defensive forms of the Jedi to the more aggressive, powerful styles of the Sith, those energy blades are more than just weapons. They're an extension of the wielder, a reflection of their philosophy, their training, and their very soul. We've seen so many unforgettable duels that tell the stories of all their own, and tonight, with special guest Baras Leibovitz, we're going to break down the science and art behind them. So, welcome in special guest Baras. Am I pronouncing that right? Leibovitz?
Leibovitz.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, I had to. I had to.
No, I love it. It's great.
Nice. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We're all about the drama here.
Oh yeah.
All right. So lightsaber combat. Yes, we've discussed lightsabers before a little bit, but that was more of just the overall function of them and kind of, ooh, they're pretty, they light up type of thing. But today we're going to go into a little bit more detail.
Well, I will say that there are two aspects of lightsaber combat you have to understand. There's the type that we see in the films and in the Star Wars lore, and then there's what you see like in real life, as far as like contact sports. I think since we're discussing, Star Wars lore, we should start within the lore itself. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, as I understand, there are 7 forms.
We've talked about lightsaber forms in the past when we did our episode on lightsabers. That was several months ago, but we didn't really touch on like the details of the forms. We talked about practitioners of them and stuff like that, but we didn't talk about.
That yarmulke has to be addressed. Can you show us your headgear there, Baras?
Yep.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And I'm
nice.
And one of the things I like about is I decided to combine my faith with Star Wars, and I did actually 2 of them. I have an Empire, and I have a Rebel one too.
that one's nice.
I love it. I love it. Yes.
This is a man who is at shalom with both sides of the empire.
I actually, when I went to Matrotham Con back in early June, I met Diana Lee Inosanto, and I had another Star Wars kippah that just says Star Wars on it all over it, and she literally had a geek out moment. So, getting that from Morgan Elsbeth herself, that made my day. That really it was just amazing.
I mean, my wallet has an Imperial cog on it.
Nice.
It doesn't have a passport folder, but that's a whole other level. I love it. But please carry on.
Yeah. With lightsabers. So when it comes to lightsaber combat in the Star Wars universe, the reason why when we look at the choreography that was done for the prequel trilogy and even for the Acolyte, it's worth noting that all the flourishes and the spinning and whatnot, those are done with the idea of that. One of the things that Jedi and Sith have is precognition, to see into the future. And one of those things is that when during lightsaber combat, you see little bits and snippets of like what's going to happen. So that's why when you see all those twirls and flurls around where it's like all over, it's you're seeing multiple like occurrences of what could happen. So that's why there's all that flurrying and whatnot. I will say that in the original trilogy with the original choreography, especially when they brought Bob Anderson on as Vader for episodes 5 and 6, it was more fencing oriented, not as flashy and whatnot. And I think it's a little bit of the same when you take into account how they did it with Daisy Ridley and Rey, and as well Finn John Boyega when they did it in Force Awakens. But I think as we saw with Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, it retained sort of that flowness with precognition and just spinning around. And it's flashy and whatnot, but using it in real life, it doesn't work. It doesn't usually work.
Right.
I've always had a theory that you can see the culture of dueling presented in the films. When we see the original trilogy, we see two men fighting in a style of combat that neither has really practiced in 20 years. Without Kenobi present, you see Vader uses his saber, sure, every day, but he's killing unarmed opponents. He's not dueling with anyone. Whereas in the prequel trilogy, we see people who are at the height of their power. This is a culture. This is where people duel against other force-empowered duelists every day for hours. And so we see more of the flourishes, more of the flips and such. And then cut to the sequel trilogy when Kylo Ren has killed only old men and control consoles with his lightsaber as far as we can see. And so there's a little bit more finesse in it. But am I making that up? Am I reading too much in it? What do you think?
No, you're not. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good.
Well, first thing, one thing that you need to understand is that while that sort of idea with the lore actually it works, at the same time you have to understand that when they first the fight. Keep in mind that David Prowse, the guy who plays the body of Darth Vader, he had no experience in stage fighting, Shakespeare stage fighting. Meanwhile, Alec Guinness, who is a Shakespearean actor beforehand, knew stage fighting, but he was too old. So what we ended up getting in A New Hope, even though by theatrical standards was meh, the audience loved it. It was unbelievable.
Oh
Not
yeah.
to mention rotoscope with the rotoscoping that they did with the hilts, with the carbon fiber hilts, or whatever material they were using. It was unbelievable. So keep in mind that it ultimately, for the lore, it ended up compensating because of age. But it was mostly because you had one guy who knew what he was doing, but he was too old, and you had another guy who didn't know what he was doing, and he was just physically awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
the thing I've always appreciated about the way that the lightsaber combat has been portrayed in the film, especially like with what Brian was just saying, is that you do see that more classical style at the heart of it. And because especially with the Jedi and the Sith, they're two sides of the same coin as far as fighting styles, because you can see in the design of the Jedi robes and everything that there's equal parts European knights and medieval warrior meets feudal Japan, because because like the having trained in sword fighting when I was doing martial arts, there are certain flourishes and movements within fighting with a katana that are very similar to what's applied with the lightsabers in the prequels. But then you've got a fighter like Darth Maul who is using a double-ended saber, and it's almost like using a glaive of some kind to fight. Oh,
yay!
That is a thing of beauty.
This is one that I got this from AliExpress. It's an LGT hilt, one of the mainstream manufactured, but it was all, when I got it, it was all like flashy silver. So I sent it out to a guy in Corona, California, Lucky Sabers, and he added some weathering petunia on it to basically make it look more weathered, make it actually look better. He also
Make it
added
look
Nice.
heat staining on the ends there because of how much Maul would use it.
Yeah.
Both 1-inch
I have
blades.
one of my Sidious hilts is an LGT. They make really good pieces. I've been impressed.
Yeah, but yeah, with Maul's hilt and regards to saber staff work, I will say that I can imagine the audience when they first saw that they were absolutely like going out of their minds. And I mean, the idea of the double hilt, I mean, I'm sure that there was some kid in their backyard decided, hey, maybe there's lightsaber stuff that could be made. But then some other kid is just like, no, that's impossible because and it's like, who cares? It's a double lightsaber. I want to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with Kylo Ren. I mean, people were so upset with Kylo Ren and his cross guard. But it was funny that you mentioned that about the styles of like mixing medieval with the Japanese style.
Mhm.
When I watch Kylo fight, I see medieval broadsword. I see that sort of like just heavy strokes, that type of sort of almost like hack and slash, but with a purpose.
You're right, actually. And I actually, when I was at Metrothicon, same place I met Daniel Santo, I also got to meet Roger Christian. And I asked him what was his take on the crossguard. He said that it was a very unique concept, and he agreed that it definitely mirrored back to the old, European knights and legends and whatnot. And he actually told me a part of him was kicking himself that he didn't think of that back then. But at the same time, he thought it was very ingenious the way he did it. They did it with the crossguard. And the original concept saber for Kylo Ren's hilt was just going to be basically minus the crossguard and basically all skewed up and whatnot. In fact, there are lightsaber hilts out there where it looks like that essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, in some of the combat he used the hilt.
Yeah, I actually wanted to show you this. This is a master replicas Luke Skywalker: A New Hope, and it is signed by the creator himself.
Oh wow, that's a real treasure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my
Have you guys seen the meme? Somebody zoomed in on like a Force Awakens poster, and you can see Rey's holding her saber, and there's a Phillips head screw in it, and they're like, it's somehow they make that out to be like some sort of failing. Like even in a galaxy far, far away, they still had Phillips heads. Like it's a simple machine, dude. Like it's a screw. You got to turn it somehow.
I mean, all things considered, he told me that when basically he got all these parts from junkyards. He built all these lightsabers using parts from a junkyard. This one used to be the graphics. It's a camera flash. Like who the heck cares? And I know that when Empire Strikes Back came out, they decided to make it look more science fiction like. They covered up the Graflex using aluminum. The Graflex level with aluminum tape. They replaced the bubble strip with a circuit board, and so many other things. And honestly, they all look great either way.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from 2007. So the fact that this thing, and since then, lightsaber tech for collectibles has gone in a whole new different direction, and has basically replicas that you can get that are mass produced are much more accurate. For example, the L lock mechanism when you want to open the bottom part, this can't because it's this was machined to just be a single little piece, but it's just unbelievable.
That's cool.
Check out Vader's Vault if you're looking for some really dramatic ones. I've seen
Vader's Vault is
a Thundercat Sword of Omens lightsaber.
Ultra
saber. A really nice Rivendell style saber. Baras, you probably saw this one, but years ago, some saber manufacturer had like a raffle at a contest where the money that was raised was used to create a Joker themed lightsaber to present to Mark Hamill.
Joker.
And
I have not seen that. No.
it was like a purple and or green blade, or like purple with a green flash or something. But all the sound effects were Joker laughs from the Batman animated series. And he presented this as a gift to Mark Hamill at a con. And Mark's like, he turns it on. He goes, "Oh, that's really great. That's cool." And hands it back. And the guy's like, no, this is for you. And Mark is just really, Mark is Mark. He acts the way he would.
I think I found what you're talking about, Brian. Hold on.
Yeah, this is news to me, but
boom.
But
I like that sort of thing. I have an Ultra Saber. I can't speak too much for the aftermarket support of that company, but they make great sabers.
I hate to really talk crap about your saber, but there are much better lightsabers out there.
No, there are, and I have 3 of them, but that was my first one.
Oh, I see. Oh, I know what you're talking. Yeah, that's a Saber Forge hilt. Basically, some guy. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, Saber Forge is one of those lightsabers. Saber Forge is another lightsaber company that it's had its rocky parts to it, but it has actually gotten a lot better in recent years. I actually had a private chat. I actually had a personal chat with the owner, Philip Isherwood, and he said that he's moving his lightsabers from the installed version of how he did with all the internal cores, and moving them over to hold electronic chassis that are made by LGT Nexus, which are these slide-in cores. And I'm pretty sure he was drunk when he typed this, but he typed "one hole to rule them all."
God.
He's a crazy. He's a mad lad. He's a bit of a crazy guy, but he does a lot of good work. He means
his own life kinds are wrong, but that's so funny.
I made a custom saber font.
It was after Mardi Gras. It was a day after Mardi Gras.
I made a sound font for my Ultra Saber that's just me making lightsaber noises with my voice. So when I turn it on, the lightsaber goes. And my favorite is the idle sound. If you set it down, it's just me going, and then in about 30 seconds in, I go. So that was the fun I had with the Ultra Saber. But if I'm honest, I would have to admit that Ultra Saber sent me a damaged lightsaber and kept me on the hook for a year, telling me they were going to replace it, while filing an insurance claim. So I paid for the saber, FedEx paid for the saber, and they never actually replaced it. So not a big fan of theirs.
Well, listen, do you still have the saber on you?
No.
Oh.
No, it was stolen out of a truck.
Oh man, dude.
It's okay. Someone else is having fun with it. I've got more.
Well, one thing that is neat about one thing that has been a decent thing about Ultra Sabers is that even though their tech is like so early 2010s,
yes, exactly,
you can take those hilts and have them sent to an installer and upgrade them. And the cool thing about Ultra Sabers is that the chassis inside those that you make for those things, that thing can hold a 28 millimeter speaker. That is loud. Very loud.
I like the Saber a lot. That was one reason I kept it. I was offered the opportunity to send it back at my own expense, and they would repair or replace it, which after a year of being lied to, I was like, I'm not really sure I trust you to ever give it back to me. So no thanks, I'll keep it.
Yeah.
Well, if
I left my truck unlocked.
Well, if you ever get to see them at a con, bring that up, then see if you can guilt them into getting you a saber at half the price. But if you ever get another one, don't get it as a stunt. Get it as cheap as you can. Send it to an installer. Have it put in with any type of soundboard you like, whether it's Profi, CFX, Golden Harvest 4. I actually know a guy who was able to rig up, those Xenopixel soundboards into it, basically redneck ingenuity, he calls it, into the Anakin version of that made. and it works perfectly.
Well, my main saber now is a devil devil chassis with a Profi board from Kyber Cave out in California. Love this thing. Not to talk shop too long, Baras, I was wondering if you could talk us through the process of a lightsaber duel, even down to like, is it double elimination? What goes into an actual competitive event?
Well, I'm a member of the Saber Legion, and I joined actually just early at the beginning of this year, and I'm still relatively new. In fact, my first competition was Saber Strong at the end of May, early June, and I got my ass handed to me. I literally got beaten by almost everyone. I lost some matches. I lost by 1 or 2 points. Other matches I lost by whole strength. When I dueled in exotics, which is where you play with hilts that are besides just wielding one lightsaber, I took my maul, I detached it, and I wielded that too. And I faced a guy who was wielding a lightsaber pike. He got me in the neck.
Oh my god!
I only got him once. But one of the things that you need to understand is that lightsaber fighting in the Saber Legion is based off of HEMA, which is European swordsmanship, broadsword, that sort of thing. And all the protective gear is more or less the same. So I was wearing a gorget, which is a French neck guard that's made out of polymer and metal. And basically, when it hit me, I barely felt it, but I could feel it still. And I lost that match 10-1. I was able to get a strike by blocking his pike above, and then by basically blocking his strike above and then slicing at his chest. But that was only once. Rest of the time, no. But basically, with the Saber Legion, as you said, what's it like with the elimination matches? Basically, it's a simple match where there's a time limit of 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and the one who gets to 10 or has the most points by the time you run out of that time limit wins. And usually, and there are also something called simuls or simultaneous strikes, where if you have simultaneous strikes, if you get 3 of them, then they dock you down a point. But basically, that's usually the case. And usually, when fighting in a Saber Legion match, you usually have a hilt that has a very deeply recessed blade, which basically allows the blade to not only engage in full contact, lightsaber blade to engage in full contact, but also it doesn't go flying out of the hilt. This is what I use. It's called the Scrapper, which is sold by Rebel Sabers. It uses the variable hilt component system that LGT makes, and basically it allows it to be to customize your saber. So it's just a little bit just right close at 16 inches, the whole hilt. And what I did was, usually there's not a excess emitter up top, but I decided to do that, which allows me to also give extra length to it. But as you can see, the power core is located right at the bottom here. So this is a 40-inch blade, and it recedes all the way down to about here.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's... Yep, it is out of battery. I have not used this thing since June. Unfortunately, one of the things, though, the charter rep in my region, he's moving houses, so we haven't had the chance to practice. And life comes first, to these sort of things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, we, in talking about the competitive side of lightsaber dueling, especially in the real world, there's obviously various forms, or 7 forms that are listed in Star Wars canon.
You're asking if those apply to real life into the Saber Legion,
right? Because I've come across several videos online on YouTube, including there's a channel called Lightsaber Academy, and they have a whole playlist of the various basic steps for like stance and strikes and stuff like that for Shicho, Makashi, Suresu, Ataru, all of the different forms that are listed in canon. And so I was wondering, one, how does that apply to the actual sport of it, and two, which form do you typically use?
Well, usually, I will say that when it comes to how fighting in the Saber Legion goes, speed and getting the first hit in is what matters. And like I said, none of the flourishing or spinning, none of that work is applicable in these matches. What if you can get the first hit in, you get the point. That's what matters. And I mean, but I did hear stories about one time there being a cage match sort of thing, and the head of the reigning champion of Saber Legion, Bobby Zavala, he did a thing where he just would like wall run and jump off the wall and just boom right on top of the guy.
Wow.
Like seriously, and there are also other places where they practice. There's like I think they practice in a racquetball court where they've done that. But basically, usually it's in a martial arts dojo where it's all like separated out, and there's locking tape and cones to separate the boundaries of where it is. But ultimately, there isn't a particular lightsaber style. It's much like fencing. There isn't an exact form. And I mean, like I said, it's just like with HEMA, with European fencing. There's not a particular style. It's just you have to watch the duels to understand. But I'm just telling you, it really just watch a match. You'll understand what I mean.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, Brian's back.
Yeah.
We lost him for a moment.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
But look, I'm still a noob at the Saber Legion. I'm still, and I mean, I'm never going to say I am a veteran of this sort of thing. There are people that have been doing it far longer, and that just enjoy doing this stuff. And there's just some, but I will tell you, there are some amazing individuals that are a part of the Saber Legion. That some are nerdy like me, but mostly they do it because it's the athletic part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've known some people who started off doing traditional like Highland and Viking style sport combat. They do it for Renaissance fairs and stuff like that. And then they ended up transitioning into doing competitive lightsaber combat just for fun, just to see what it was like. And a lot of what they did overlapped with it was just a change of weapon for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What I will say though is that it's just a blast, and it's a fun thing to do. And I'm hoping that as the charter in my location, grows, I'm hoping that we can not only have other people, mainly adults, come in, but also get an academy open for kids, because it's not only something fun, it's active, it's it builds camaraderie and friendship, and it keeps kids doing sports is fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was always impressed with the lightsaber demonstrations I saw. I've been to two different celebrations at 17 and 19, and these people are athletes. I mean, I was seeing choreographed fights that were flips and twists and flourishes that you were discussing, like not an actual competition, but a choreographed sequence.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Now, I've also seen less, but I've also seen some legit combat, mostly in videos. But in both cases, it is a sport. It is a real competition. I think that stuff is fascinating.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen this video from the World Fencing Championships from 9 years ago?
They move too fast for me. Like the videos always look like they're sped up. Like there's some little girl who does like staff demonstrations, and it looks like she can't possibly be moving that fast, but she is. It's really impressive.
Yeah, the guy who I mentioned, Bobby Zavala, the leading champion for the Saber Legion, he used to do American Ninja Warrior.
That makes sense.
That tracks, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he started into the whole lightsaber thing as like a gimmick, and then he just barreled on in.
Yeah.
I mean, I think incorporating athleticism into play is a great way to improve both of them. My daughter is a really strong swimmer. She loves swimming. She also loves swimming with her mermaid tail, and she's convincing at it. And it reminds me as we're dueling to see that joy of play brought into an athletic event. I did see this isn't really about dueling, but one of my favorite duels I saw was choreographed. A friend of mine is a gifted Luke Skywalker cosplayer, and his now wife is a gifted Mara Jade cosplayer. Now they also do a lot of they do Cloud Strife and Tifa Lockhart. They do a whole bunch, but in this particular moment, they had been dating for quite some time. And at a New York City Comic-Con, they were dueling, and they had this choreographed moment where they engage and disengage and spin. And as they spun around with their backs to each other, his friend tossed him a ring. And so when they turned her back around to face each other, he was on one knee holding up an R2-D2 ring. And that's how they got.
Oh, nice.
So precious.
Nice. Now, have you seen? There's a video. It's old. It's pretty old, but it's a series of these guys who do choreographed lightsaber duels, but they're all set in like modern times, like Earth today.
Was it like something called Ryan versus Brandon?
Yeah, Ryan versus someone. Yeah.
And also Ryan versus Dorkman. I remember that. Those were what.
Yeah, Dorkman. Dorkman.
That's what got me hooked into Star Wars lightsaber choreographed fighting. Those are forerunners to what we see today, and they are. Yep, that's them. That is them. I remember because.
Yeah. And I mean, considering this is 11 years ago. 15.
No, over.
See it.
Like these were one of the first ones
15?
out there.
Considering this is from almost 20 years ago, that's some pretty good choreography and some pretty good editing for.
Well, and see, and that's the thing. Like touching back on competitive, weapons fighting. When you're doing stuff in you're going to learn forms. I mean, anybody who does martial arts, you're going to learn some kind of form, and I think that's where the different forms that you see in canon come into play. But at the same time, when you're doing real fighting, you can't just rely on that. So, like for example, when I used to do mixed martial arts and Taekwondo in college, we had a couple of guys who were rated as black belts. I was rated somewhere in a middle rank, I think like blue or maybe purple at the time. And I would spar with these guys because I had learned the skills necessary, but I just hadn't taken the tests yet. And we had there was one guy in particular, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me. When it came to doing his forms, when it came to doing all of his one-step self-defense drills, he was really fantastic. But when it came to sparring, his ability to adapt and his ability to operate on the fly was not so great, and he ended up losing a lot of matches because he was trying to rely heavily on the forms that he had practiced by rote rather than learning how to adapt different strikes into a chain of attacks or a chain of blocks, whatever that looked like. And the same thing happens with weapons, is that if all you're doing is you're learning to do these forms, that's great. It looks beautiful, especially when it's well choreographed. But then you have a real match, and that form isn't going to do squat when you've got someone who's rushing at you and jumping off the cage wall.
Yeah. I was going to say.
By the way, this of course is that pairing of Luke and Mara. I don't know who the Yahoo Palpatine in the middle there is.
Yeah, just some schmuck, I guess.
These guys are great. I met this Luke cosplayer. He and a Darth Vader were posed up for an Instagram shot at the top of an escalator, and completely coincidentally, I got on the escalator at the bottom. So while they were taking a picture, Baras, of the two of them together facing off, I rose up out of the floor in between them. It was a great moment, and we've been friends ever since.
Or you could have pulled a Robot Chicken moment and be like, or just be like, "My lord, go fuck yourself. My lord, go fuck yourself." Sorry, is cursing allowed?
I did a certain amount of the robot chickening.
Yeah.
Particularly at that.
Yeah.
And Garrett, if you don't mind, I'm going to take one more here. This is the
Yeah,
no problem. Oh, I wanted to mention the lightsaber that. Oh, that's cool. Nice.
Love it. And in the background there, you see the escalator I rose up. That's my "He will join us on die, Lord Vader." Great stuff.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah. As I was what I wanted to say was the lightsaber that I had on it at the beginning. This is an Anakin, Master Replica's Anakin 2005.
Oh, nice.
So when you see all the hilts that are out, like Anakin Skywalker hilts that are out there, the anti-flex, the spin flex, and whatnot. This is the original. This thing is 20 years old. It has Profi in it, and it's basically wholly renew hilt. Like, this is NeoPixel. This is nothing like the old bulb in giant bulbs inside the blade.
One is never too old to learn, Sips.
That's cool.
One of the cool things about Profi, this is not in film, right?
Right.
Is this filmed?
What's that?
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the audience will be able to see this. Okay, one of the cool things about Profi is different blade styles. So this is the font from Ahsoka.
Oh,
your eyes, Garrett, are just.
Garrett, I can put you in touch with a good Profi distributor, by the way.
But yeah, basically, there's so many cool things you could do with this. But yeah,
nice.
But basically, that's one of the cool things about Profi is being able, and with lightsabers, that you're able to customize and do incredible things. Like, you want to do the 2-color setting that's from Star Wars Visions, the twins, you can do that. You want to do the blade effect from the Margrave episode from the Visions, where when Juro pulls the lightsaber from one of the Sith and turns it from red to green, you can do that. You can do so many things. And the guy who creates these blade styles, they're always updating it. He's always making improvement, tweaking it, making it better.
Nice.
The saber I have from Cairo Cave is a Profi, and it came with, I think, a dozen sound fonts on it, or saber fonts on it. And what I like is the variants you can put into the startup. Like, I've got it has one just kind of and it's like the engine's trying to turn over. It's great.
It sounds like a pod racer.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Let me ask. Is it Brian? Is it are you able to use an app for it?
No, I don't have the app for it. I believe it is. I really haven't looked into it, and it's mostly a cosplay piece. And I keep it on red with the Emperor settings.
Okay.
But if there's an app for a Profi board, I've not found one.
There is. It's just expensive because what I'm thinking is that I'm pretty sure what you have is. Are you sure it doesn't? Do you add the fonts to? Did you add fonts to it? Does it come with an SD card or?
No.
Okay. Well, because with Profi and with Xenopixel, you are able to add fonts. You can purchase lightsaber fonts.
Yeah.
And there are many out there. And I actually worked with one of the main sound font guys, a guy called Juan Sith, and he creates a bunch of different ones, including, and one of the benefits to recently with AI is replicating voices and doing quotes from novels and different other source material. So, have you guys read Splinters of the Mind's Eye?
I have
Yeah.
not. This guy has.
Oh yeah.
It is technically the first sequel to A New Hope before episode 5 came out. And
Guys, come for the romantic relationship between Luke and Leia, but stay for when he slaps her.
I haven't read it. You just spoiled it.
That's okay. I've had. It doesn't ruin anything for me with the books.
Well, it's not canon anymore.
It's
So
Alan Dean Foster. It's a great book. It's so funny because it's so far out of what we've come to understand as the canon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I did, basically, what Juan did was he took the lines from Luke and Vader and basically was able to replicate those lines using AI.
Wow,
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. The font noises for the lightsaber are usually generic. Usually, Graphics, A New Hope, Vader, A New Hope, sort of that timeline. But basically, it's pretty impressive though. And in my case, I actually did a couple of commissions and worked alongside Juan, and we created a Five Nights at Freddy's font.
That's pretty cool. Does it laugh like Freddy Fazbear?
Yeah, we have those. We also did the characters from almost all the major video games. We did the voice lines that would work from the recent movie, and hopefully there will be more too with the next movie coming out in December. But and I also did a couple commissions from him. I also commissioned a couple of fonts, including the Radio Demon from Has Been Hotel. And we also did my recent commission I commissioned him for was Lumaya's Light Whip.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say something. Oh, one of the things is I've noticed that when I watch people like who are combat experts, when they're critiquing choreographed fights in film, one of the biggest critiques I've always seen that they always make is that when they're clashing together, it's almost like they're purposely, like, it doesn't look real because it doesn't look like they're actually trying to hit the person in the head, which I think that would be different than in actual combat, whether it's like what you do or actual combat, where in a choreographed fight you're not trying to literally hit the person in the head or hit the person or cleave the person in half, whereas in an actual fight you're actually trying to do that. So
Well, I can understand that, especially when it comes to Star Wars, and it's like I said earlier, it's the whole precognition thing where you're spinning around and hitting your sabers. Is that it's with that sort of thing. One thing I will say, there are many people that put a lot of hate on, for example, the Acolyte for how the story was read, or just the fact that Leslie, what's her face, tried to bring identity politics into Star Wars or whatever. I don't know, but one thing that the Acolyte got really right, that even Roger Christian had to admit, was the lightsaber choreography between the Jedi and the Stranger. And Manny Jacinto, the guy who played Chimere, he did that in a helmet that had basically no visibility whatsoever. So you can put all the hate you want on the Acolyte, but if you have an actor who can not only perform his role well, but also do a lightsaber fight by basically memorizing everything down to the minute details, that takes so much talent.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And to see him come to that role from Jason Mendoza on The Good Place is just,
Dude, right?
it adds
Oh
a
my
whole
God,
new
yes!
level.
Yes.
Honestly, I like you guys know my take on the Acolyte. Like it had so much potential and it seemed to fall flat. But probably the highlight of it for me was Manny Jacinto's performance as the stranger, just simply because he actually seemed like like the way he was introduced and it's like it was kind of obvious, but like even still, like he did well with what he was given.
Down from the trees like a badass, ignite your lightsaber, and basically go head to toe with 10 Jedi.
Who seem to forget how to turn on their lightsabers half the time.
Yeah. One thing that Roger Christian did say that he did not think that he did not like the Acolyte as a whole, and he even thought the lightsabers were terrible. Like seriously, the replicas that they have made of those lightsabers for like by LGT and TXQ, the big major companies, they are so much thinner than the ones that are from the set. And that's saying something.
Yeah. They look bulky.
Not even bulky. Just like even Disney, even lightsabers made by Disney that you can get in the parks are thinner.
Yeah.
I think those park lightsabers that you can make with the build your own experience, not like the Sunday bar where you just assemble the pieces, but the actual
build your own
character
experience, I will give them credit for. I will give
Disney. I think that the cost of admission, it's worth it just to build the saber, but the saber in and of itself, I think, is subpar. But if you just want a saber, you can get a better saber for the money. But if you want to have the experience of going into a cavern and choosing your pathway or whatever, it seems like it's way worth it. I can't wait to go back.
There is a way you can convert Disney those lightsabers and make them NeoPixel.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, cool.
I've seen that there's a retrofit for them.
Yes, it costs basically as much as it is to get into and do that, and maybe a little more, but it is worth it. And it does, and it also works with the crystal RFID chip thing.
Now that's cool. I've seen some really nice custom kyber crystals using the same RFID chips. I've got one that it's a black crystal and it's shaped like an obelisk with Palpatine's face carved on it, and it functions as a Palpatine or a Vader.
Yep. Yeah, that's what they did with those lightsabers, and yeah, it's really cool. But I just think that Disney. And I mean, one of the things I'm glad about Disney doing is letting fans in with their own lightsabers in, because, I mean, obviously the people that are running the shop are just looking at this and be like, dude, why don't we have those?
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, some of my favorite scenes from like people walking through the park are ones where they'll, come up to Kylo with a lightsaber, and Kylo will make some sort of comment. Or my favorite one is there's one where it's the two stormtroopers. They're standing by Kylo's ship, and this guy has a lightsaber and he's doing the twirling thing, and one of the stormtroopers just kind of goes like this and starts completely mocks it.
Nice.
It is.
yeah.
Well, Baras, if someone were to be interested in joining the Saber Legion and coming on board with what you do, what's the best way to reach out?
Well, there is a Saber Legion. There's sorry, I'm sorry. There is a Saber Legion Facebook page. The Saber, and you can type. You can join the group and ask if you'd like to join, and they can give you all the information to your local area and whoever is a part of it. But ultimately, sorry, it's been a while since I've done it myself, so I'm not really sure. But ultimately, just reach out over the Facebook page.
Okay.
You can go to the website, folks, at saberlegion.org. There are a number of groups out there. For example, I'm in North Carolina. The North Carolina group serves as 361 members. Facebook does seem to be the best way to do it.
Yeah, saberlegion.org.
But,
you're going to want to go to the Facebook page.
And that link is down in the video description.
Yes.
Yep. And And the first one that you will come to is recently the recent page. The recent page was there was a tournament in Las Vegas, and the second place winner was a guy named Ryan McKenna. That's the guy who I fought against that got me in the neck with the lightsaber pike. Nice. I mean, not nice for you. I mean, that must have hurt, but still. It was an honor. One of the cool things that I got when I fought him was they all the pros, they have these little these little chips that they give out. Here, let me go grab one really quick. One moment. Where's it? Oh, here it is. So, yep. It was a very fun fight, and he gave me this. Oh, that's cool.
Ooh.
This is official patch. Yep. And I also got another one from another guy named Michael Sprague. His armor is decked out like Wreckers from the Bad Batch. So that's awesome.
Is that that's a patch or is that a challenge coin?
3D printed challenge.
Cool.
But yeah, these guys, they're awesome.
I met another Palpatine who gave me a solid brass challenge coin. It's like an inch and a half diameter.
Nice.
All right.
Well, we're coming up on the
any other questions for our guest? How to get involved? How many bruises have you got? Oh, Baras, how many lightsaber hilts do you have? And do you have a picture you can share with us? Because folks, I came to know Baras through, we're in, I think, 4 different Saber or Star Wars related groups on Facebook, and I kept seeing him post these beautiful sabers.
Well, I can show. Well, okay. So besides the 2 Graflexes I showed you in my mall, I've also got this Windu that's made by X-Tech.
Nice.
And basically unscrew it. There's the inside of the chassis.
Oh.
And
that's cool.
My most recent hilt was actually an Eno Cordova, based off of the lightsaber. Eno Cordova from Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. And and the guy I got it from, originally this was sort of a brass gold section, but what he did was he colored it to make it look more like the one from the game.
That's cool.
It looks much better that way, if you ask me.
Yeah, you get to see that the brass and the silver with the black grip.
One thing you got to anyone who's watching this stream, you should know: thin neck lightsabers don't hold as much of a blade because they're the initial design of it. Like, for example, if I add the attachment, I get probably maybe an inch or so blade gets in, but stability when fighting with your when doing a con or anything is what matters most. But I'll turn my computer around to show my wall.
Dude.
There it is.
Whoa.
It's empty right now because I had to send my sabers
That
out.
is cool.
But I get most of my mounts from a light store on Etsy called LED BFG.
I recognize some of his work.
And I also I traded in a bunch of my hilts for newer versions of them. So it's just
That's
a matter
awesome.
of, but ultimately, and I actually put in an order for the episode 3 version of Darth Vader's hilt, which I forgot to set up the pre-order, so I won't be getting it till the end of September, most likely.
That's cool.
Ultimately,
Nice.
I started out with collecting lightsabers from master replicas. This was actually my third hilt. My Luke A&H was the third hilt I ever got. My first was a 2003 Darth Vader A New Hope. My second was a Luke Skywalker Episode 6 from 2006. And since then, I've been collecting. I started back when I was in high school. I started expanding my collection in high school when I started getting Ultra Sabers. And then I realized there were lightsabers better than Ultra Sabers, so I got rid of all those. And ever since I graduated college in December 2022, I have been building my collection.
Nice.
And
Well, Bears, you're a real pro and an expert in the field. I appreciate you coming on the
Definitely.
show with us.
I don't
Yeah.
think of myself as a pro. Like, there are people out there that probably know far more than me that do their own weathering, that do their own electronic work. I'm just a simple collector.
Making his way in the galaxy.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's
I
great.
like what you did there. All right. Well, if people want to get a hold of you personally, Baras, how can they do so?
Well, if you are on much of the Star Wars pages on Facebook, especially with Lightsaber and Star Wars, you'll probably find me around there. But if you would like to follow me and with any of the stuff I do involving collecting lightsabers, going to conventions, I am known as the Southern Skywalker on Instagram. It's actually a really simple. Besides the name, I also am wearing this poncho hood with my graphics on the Mara Jade font and holding a Han Solo blaster, which also makes sound and whatnot. Basically, it was one of those airsoft C96 Mauser pistols that was converted to look like Han Solo's blaster. I sent it into a guy called Sabers Forever, and he made it to where it can actually make blaster noises.
That's great.
Nice.
It's powered by the same Profi board that is in Sabers. It's an incredible thing. And he also does upgrades to the A180, which is the Luger from Rogue One, and also the E11 blaster rifle.
But can you do the Gillette sensor from Episode 1? Qui-Gon's communicator is a women's Gillette sensor handle.
Well, I'm sure that's easy to do.
Imagine so.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, I'm not sure about how fitting a Profi board inside that would work, but I mean, just a simple DIY, even a 3D print could work with it.
I confess I was kind of kidding.
Yeah.
Well, Baras, again, thanks so much for coming on. And I have already put in my request to the Saber Legion in North Carolina to see if I can join in that group and see who I can get in touch with out here to whack a blade with here and there.
Well, thank you for having me on. I never thought I would be able to get to this, to be able to, come on different shows. And I'm not only trying to do this, grow my brand, but also to reach other people and, spread the love with Star Wars, because, with everything going on in the world today, bringing everyone together with a love and interest in Star Wars, that is what will help bypass our differences and enjoy something that's just awesome,
Yep.
We always.
You're never too old to play Star Wars.
If you noticed in our opening, and we also say it in our end, we always stay at the end. It's not just my Star Wars. It's not just your Star Wars. It's our Star Wars. And, I think we believe here at, War of the Stars that Star Wars should be for everyone. It doesn't mean we can't disagree. And we can't have, debates about different things within the saga. But in the end, I mean, it's a movie about space wizards and laser swords. And it's just should be fun and should be it's not that big of a deal. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah. It was good having you on.
One
Go
thing I
ahead.
will say, one thing I just want to say before we end, when it comes to the lightsaber style that you were referring to with, like, for example, Form 2 Makashi, that came off of that inspiration came off of after Episode 2 when Christopher Lee played Count Dooku, because the saber that they made for Count Dooku was inspired by the sword that was used by the Emperor Charlemagne, who Christopher Lee was descended from.
That's cool.
Oh.
May he rest in
It
peace.
just keeps getting cooler.
Who are you talking? So hold on. When you say rest in peace, are you talking Christopher Lee or Charlemagne?
Christopher Lee. I
Or
don't care
both.
about Charlemagne.
Okay, I didn't know.
Why
Maybe
would
you were
I care about
Definitely.
the dead Frank Emperor?
maybe you're a big. I don't know. Maybe you're a big fan of the Franks.
I'm Jewish. I don't think the Franks treated us well.
That's fair.
I'm a
Yeah,
fan of
right,
Franco-American. Chef Boyardee, he's a big listener to the
Okay.
show.
I'm not a big fan of Franco either. What he did in Spain was just really bad.
Okay, let's avoid real life topic. We're talking about Star Wars. Space Wizards.
Okay, yeah.
Something. James Franco is obnoxious.
I was feeling for it too, Garrett. I couldn't find it. Well, folks, you can find me on Facebook at the Sith Library and Archives. I post as Darth Baras. We got a number of admins out there. We post a curated collection of Sith art, culture, humor, jokes. We got the jokes. So come on out and join us on the Sith Library and Archives. And Baras, thanks again for joining us here.
Thank you, and I hope to be on your guys' show many more times to discuss lore and whatever.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. Garrett.
All right. As for me, you guys can connect with me on Instagram and X at GKJ_publishing, where I talk about my writing as an author, and I promote my show The Right Way, which we are currently on a 2-month hiatus as I'm developing season 8. I'm actually really excited because last week I put out a call for potential interviewees with other authors, and I have 13 slots set available for that, and all but 3 have been claimed in like 24 hours. It was really, really cool.
Nice.
So I've got a new season coming out in October, but in the meantime, I'm hard at work working on some projects. I just announced the name of the 6th book in my fantasy series, The Archives of the Saint Grand. That book is going to be called The Preludes of War. So check it out. If you follow me, just look for more posts on that subject. I do have a new episode of Snackame coming out later this month, where my co-host Janae and I will be covering The Way of the House Husband, which is an anime on Netflix. I need to really buckle down and watch that because we're recording on Saturday.
Yeah. All right. As for us right here, War of the Stars, if you want to go hold of us, the email is warofthestars1@gmail.com, or you can get a hold of us through all our social medias. That is at War of the Stars 77. It's all one word. If you want to support the show, you can of course go to kofi.com/War of the Stars and support us that way, or get our cool merch at spreadshirt.com/shop/war-of-the-stars. As Garrett mentioned, we are, of course, a part of Feast of Fandoms. Check out all the shows of Feast of Fandoms. And I can officially announce that in a couple of weeks, on August 23rd, I will be a part of the podcast, What Does Star Wars Mean to You?, where I will be discussing, as the title says, what Star Wars means to me. It should be a lot of fun. I've been listening to a lot of the episodes of the show. It's a really cool show, really cool concept. So I am honored beyond belief, considering that some of the people that they have had on that show to be a part of it. And I will fly the flag high for War of the Stars while I am there. But yeah, obviously check us out next week, where we will be discussing Omega from the Bad Batch. So until next time, Remember, this is not just my Star Wars. This is not just your Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. May the Force be with you.